Hello, welcome back, book lovers. Thanks for tuning in to another video. Just let me get set up here. I think we're good to go. Okay, so today we are reviewing one of the most important short stories from the post-Korean War period from one of that generation's most representative writers. The story is A Stray Bullet. The Korean title is Obaltan, and the writer is Lee Beomseon. And Lee was born in 1920 in a region of Korea that is now in North Korea. So he was born in the north. After the war, he moved south and studied literature at Dongguk University. Actually, Dongguk University is where I work. So it was very exciting that he was a student at my university. He had a short career as a clerk before making his literary debut just a couple of years after the end of the war in 1955. He quickly rose to prominence and cemented his reputation with this story, with A Stray Bullet, which was published in a literary journal in 1959. This English translation was published in 2014 in the Modern Korean Literature series by Asia Publishers. As you can see, that's a series of read books, which I've reviewed several stories from this collection. You might be able to see them on the bookshelf behind me. Unfortunately, he passed away in 1982, but he did leave behind a rich legacy of stories and novels. However, I think, as far as I can remember, this is the only one of his stories that I've read in translation. So for a writer with such a big reputation, he doesn't, unless I'm very much mistaken, and I might be, he doesn't have a huge amount readily or easily available in English. So reviewers such as myself don't have access to a huge amount of his body of work. Anyway, this story is still very powerful, very engaging, and I think there's a lot for modern readers to enjoy. If you're coming to this story for the first time in 2025, I think there's a strong chance you'll enjoy it. I've reviewed several novels and short stories from the post-Korean War period, obviously, and you can find those elsewhere on the channel. But why is this particular story regarded as one of the most representative works from that time? And did I mention, so this translation, did I say who the translation was? So this translation, sorry, I didn't say the name of the translation. The translator is Marshall R. Phil. Marshall R. Phil. And do you know what? I don't know. Marshall R. Phil, I haven't reviewed many Marshall Phil translations. Yeah, I'll look that up a little bit later. Sorry, okay. Anyway, so a representative story. Why is it regarded as being so representative? So the thing that comes through most clearly in this story is the feeling that something has been lost. It's a story about a family living in Seoul shortly after the war's end, but this is a family that came down from the north, and whether they wanted to or not, they can't return to their hometown. They can't return to the region where they've grown up and lived and had their relationships, and that is been severed. They can't go back there. Instead, they have to try and make lives for themselves in the South. So this is a refugee story about people who've been displaced, and it captures a sense of longing and a deep feeling of loss that E and others like him must have felt as refugees resettling in the South and trying to go on with their lives in the aftermath of the war. And A Stray Bullet offers a very bleak, even nihilistic view of the post-war human experience. It's a story about people valiantly struggling to live meaningfully in the face of these, overwhelming historical events. So, what are the specifics of the story? So, who is this family of refugees trying to survive in post-war Seoul? So, the main character is Song Chol-ho. He is the head of the Song family, living in the liberation village around Namsan in Seoul. Namsan is the sort of mountain in central Seoul, has a very famous Namsan Tower on it that many tourists visit when they visit Seoul. But in the post-war period, what sprung up around Namsan was what was referred to as the Liberation Village, and it was where lots of these displaced refugees from the north and from elsewhere congregated and tried to sort of reestablish some continuity in their life. And Cholho, he is a kind of junior accountant, but he's very poorly paid. But despite his low salary, he does his best to support his family. So we see, we see Cholho really trying to do everything he can to improve the situation for his various family members. And the Song family consists of Cholho, his wife, their young daughter, and Cholho's younger brother and sister, and then finally their invalid mother. And the initial section of the story is just a heartbreaking portrayal of a struggling family trying to do their best under extremely challenging circumstances. Cholho's mother has dementia. He says at one point his wife hasn't smiled in years. He's pained by the fact that he can't provide nice things for his daughter. His sister is frequently arrested for prostitution, and his brother stays out all night drinking and just making bad decisions. And everywhere Cholho looks, there seems to be despair. Can he improve his situation? And what does the future hold when everything seems so pointless? So, is there anything that Cholho can do, or is the Song family just trapped by their circumstances? So, sadly, this is a story about unfulfilled dreams and shattered hopes and desires. There's no way out for the Song family in the post-war reality that writer E depicts. Cholho tries to be a good person. He works hard and he sticks to his morals and his sense of ethics, but this is not sufficient. Being a good person is almost meaningless in the Song family's context. So, what other strategies are available? His younger brother turns to crime, and indeed, I guess both his younger siblings have turned to crime. And Cholho's younger brother ridicules his elder brother's conscience, saying that conscience is a thorn in your fingertip. But of course, the life of crime ends in tragedy, as we see in the story. And Cholho's younger sister has turned to prostitution and is also often in trouble with the police. And Cholho wants her to stop, but will later use the money she's earned to pay for hospital treatment for his wife and buy clothes for his daughter. And this too reveals just the irrelevance of ethics and morals and honesty that Cholho tries to hold on to. So, is there any light at the end of the tunnel? Does Lee Beomseon hide a silver lining somewhere in the story? And what will modern readers make of the despair in a stray bullet? So, unfortunately, there is no light at the end of the tunnel. The story ends on a note of existential despair, very heartbreaking conclusion. However, I think it does still have things to say, of course. It's not just a representative example of Korean literature from the period after the war, but it is a great example and worth reading for that alone. So I'm covering cat hair. One of the elements of the story that many people remember is the elderly mother in the story. An experience of the war and becoming a refugee has caused her to become senile, or she seems to have dementia or Alzheimer's or some similar cognitive decline. And all she can say is a repeated phrase. She says, "Let's go." And this is the only thing that she says. And it's as if she still yearns to return to the north, to return to the past, return to her hometown. And this is the only feeling left in her, the only thing that she is capable of expressing or desiring. But of course, we know that it is impossible to return. And this is a concept that has much to say to us. The world seems like it is changing faster than perhaps it ever was before or ever has before. And people are scared of this change. We yearn to go back. But of course, there is no going back. Instead, like Choho, we can only go forward into a very uncertain future. And also, I'd like to mention just there's an excellent film adaptation that's available to watch for free on the Korean Film Archive YouTube channel. And it's definitely, it's very much worth checking out. So, Amy, what do you think? Have you read A Stray Bullet or watched the classic film adaptation? Do you know where you can find any more translated stories by this writer? So please let me know. Do you think stories of post-war despair still resonate with modern readers? Please leave a comment. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like the video to support the channel. Subscribe for more videos about Korean literature, old and new, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a review. And if you're interested, please check out some of my other reviews. Like I said, there's several reviews of other post-war stories and classic novels. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.